Joining us is former Chief of the Naval Staff, the 23rd Indian Navy Chief, Admiral Sunil Lamba. He was the chief between 2016 and 2019, a very, very important phase in India's military, India's rules of engagement with its neighbors and national security at large. Admiral Lamba, welcome. Thank you very much for joining us on this special Modi's 11 broadcast as we look back on the big national security achievements of the last 11 years. Your opening thoughts, sir. We're less than a month, from Operation Sindoor. From that perspective, what would you say are your big national security highlights of the last 11 years?
Shiv, thank you for inviting me to participate in this debate. I think one of the main past 11 years, when you look at things, there has been a greater synergy and integration and cohesion between the three armed forces, the Army, Navy and Air Force. There has been greater focus on capacity building. I'm now talking of military capacity in all the three dimensions, whether it's land, sea or air. There has also been a shift on indigenous manufacture and development of equipment. I mean, this is nothing new for the Navy. We've been doing indigenous manufacture of ships for the past 60, 70 years. But there has been a great deal of focus. And I think the most important thing since the Modi government has been a focus on the maritime dimension, not only towards the Indian Navy, but as a holistic view on maritime issues, whether it's port development through Sagarmala. They've also announced a recent initiative of manufacture of merchant ships within India.
Yes.
I mean, it's been a sad story where Indian trade being carried on Indian flagships have been reducing as a percentage as time has gone by. And this is one area which we really need to focus is to revive the Indian shipbuilding. So we have come a long way in military capability and national focus on overall.
And we saw a bit of that, didn't we, Admiral Lamba, last month during Operation Sindoor, the Indian Navy in the North Arabian Sea, at least from what we know in the public domain from those briefings from the Indian Navy was that the Pakistan Navy was pinned down, mostly contained to port. Their aircraft couldn't leave the Makran coast. Zooming out from that, the manner in which the Indian Navy had piled on the pressure and in many ways influenced the land battle. What is your perspective on how things have built up to that incredible capability, sir? It obviously didn't happen overnight.
Means when you look at force on force, when you compare, say, Navy to Navy, the asymmetry between the Indian Navy and then the Pakistan Navy compared to the other two forces, the Army and the Air Force, is the widest.
Yeah.
There has been a great focus by my predecessors and my followers, I'm now talking about the chiefs, on development of military capability. We shifted from bean counting or number, that so many ships, that this is the military capability we need in the maritime dimension. And over the years, this military capability has been built up, more sophisticated and larger platforms have been built. Like the prime example is a Project 15, which is the Delhi class, followed by the Kolkata class. Thereafter, the Project 15 Bravos have now all been commissioned.
Yes.
Their build periods of ships have reduced by Navy investing in modernization of the defense shipyards. So overall, there has been a maritime capability development, not only on the surface, but underwater and in the air in the form of new helicopters and maritime patrol aircraft. So force on force, the symmetry is the widest between the Indian Navy and the Pakistan Navy. And I'm not privy to what is the present deployment was during Operation Sindoor. But I'm quite sure that there would be a task force centered around the carrier battle group of Vikrant with its escorts. and there would have been other task units deployed in the form of surface action groups. And there would have been total maritime domain awareness of what it is, and I'm given to understand not only the Pakistan Navy, but they had shut down the entire shipping. So the coastal waters of Pakistan was devoid of any vessels sailing there, whether it was merchant fishing crafts or their own this thing.
Going into some of those specifics, since you mentioned shipbuilding, it's a important aspect of how things have accelerated and become much more focused in the last 10 years, Admiral Lamba. One project that comes to mind, at least from the recent couple of years, is clearance to the indigenous nuclear-powered attack submarine program, which had been, awaiting clearance for a long time. It's a complicated program, but it's also one of the highlights of the last couple of years when it comes to the maritime domain. Those are, assets that India needs quite urgently.
I can't agree with you more. I mean, we had a submarine, 30-year submarine development program, which dates back to 1999.
Yeah.
And it's been running way behind schedule. Initially, the program had a force level of 24 conventional submarines. In 2014, it was modified to 18 conventional boats and 6 nuclear attack submarines. And finally, the government has sanctioned the first 2 of the 6 boats. And I'm quite sure we'll be able to develop them and build them in double quick time. And they are force multipliers which the Indian Navy urgently requires to have the freedom of operation in the Indo-Pacific, especially in the large Indian Ocean region.